Well, first of all, welcome. I'm in beautiful Telluride, Colorado, which if you've never been here, is absolutely spectacular. It is quite possibly one of the most beautiful places on earth. It is in the middle of these amazingly large and majestic looking mountains. And it's, I'm sitting right now at 9,100 feet in my hotel room. So the air is a little thin up here, a little tough to sleep. So if I misstep a little bit, just bear with me because it's very thin air, and been spending a lot of time in San Diego. I'm going from 90 feet to 9,100 feet. There's a lot less oxygen. So anyhow, I thought it'd be good to revisit annuities, especially here in the bear market, because I think annuity is often a concept that comes up in bear markets because people think about their portfolios from a standpoint of protection. And risk. When everything's going fine, annuities seem to always carry, a bad stigma, if you will. But in bear markets, I think people start to realize the value of annuities can add to a portfolio. And so I wanted to go over some of the basics today. So we're going to go over a couple different things. Part of the presentation here has slides that are a couple years old. Interest rates have obviously changed very rapidly over the last year. So some of the slides are a little dated, but historically, if we look historically, interest rates, 10-year treasury still under 4%, 30-year treasury bonds still under 4%, just right at 4%. Short-term rates are higher than they've been in a long time, but longer-term rates, meaning locking in longer-term bond yields, have not really moved that much since the 2020 timeframe. So I'm going to discuss that and how that affects your income in retirement. So let's get started here. And markets are getting less predictable. Return expectations have declined. Doesn't mean investors have to change their lifestyle in retirement, right? So how does an annuity help as an alternative, possibly to bonds? Let's take a look. The other thing I've noticed up here at the high altitudes, you have to drink a lot of water because your mouth gets dry really quick. So this current yield here, and by the way, Bondi, can you see my presentation here? Hopefully you can.
Yes.
I am sharing this, right? Okay. Make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. So bond yields, if we look back, this is just the Bloomberg Barclays USS aggregate, excuse me, which is basically corporate bonds, a corporate bond index, if you will. And if we look back to the late 80s, we were, mid-teens. And so obviously you have two factors here when you purchase bonds in a higher interest rate environment. One, you have obviously a higher yield, but you also have this cushion below you. So if yields come down, you get a corresponding tailwind in the form of capital appreciation, right? Because bonds are similar to a teeter-totter. On one side, you have interest rate. On the other side, you have price. And so as interest rates come down, the price goes up. And so you have this tailwind. Well, here we are kind of stuck in this area where bonds are flattening out. When I say bonds, I mean bond yields are flattening out. And because bonds and interest rates have been so low for so long, essentially coming out of the Great Recession, or the Great Recession, they really only have one direction to go. We are now in a process of normalizing long-term interest rates, which means what? It means that interest rates will continue to probably climb, maybe not necessarily on the short end of the curve or the Fed funds rate. That could stop going up when the Fed feels like it's tamed inflation. But longer-term rates, meaning like the 10-year treasury and longer bonds, could continue to rise. The yield could continue to rise probably for the next decade to 2 decades. So how do we replace that loss of income, or the fact that realistically we could expect returns of 1 to 3% over the next decade? And if inflation obviously is running at 4 or 5%, that's a negative real rate of return. So this is just a simple slide that shows what it takes to generate. I'm going to point you here the 40,000 of annual distribution. So if you're looking for 40,000 in income annually, how much do you have to have invested in millions in each one of these different places to invest? When the S&P 500 in 1990, you needed 1.3 million, and that was just simply because the dividend yield in 1990 on S&P 500 stocks was significantly higher than it is today. Now, or at least in 2020, you need 2.2 million. A 10-year treasury, which is similar to what it was in 2020, actually a little bit higher yield now, so this number is probably double that, but still, if you have $1 million and you have a 4% 10-year treasury yield, it takes, obviously, to generate 40,000 annually, it takes $1 million invested in a 10-year treasury. Back in 1990, it only took 500,000 because the 10-year treasury was at 8%. A 6-month CD in 1990 was also paying 8%. So to generate 40,000 income, you only needed 500,000 in that CD. Whereas as of 2 years ago, and we're probably somewhere over here now, it probably takes 5 to 6 million in CDs to generate that same income. You may say, well, I can get a 3 or 6 month CD that's 5% now or 4%, but that's only a 3 or 6 month CD, right? We're talking about longer term rates, because if you want income for your retirement, you have to look at longer term rates, not shorter term rates, not the 3 or 6 month deal. And those longer term rates are still where they were, during 2020 and pretty much over the last decade or so. On the other hand, if you have a variable annuity distributing 5%, you need 800,000 because it generates 40,000 income, and that's actually stayed the same since 1990. All right. So what's the dilemma? We're still, even though interest rates have come up, in a tough spot for bonds, because if we look historically, bond yields are still historically below where they have been. All right. So can you count on bonds to cushion the fall? Well, so here's just your yield cushion, and equals interest income and the capital growth. Again, this is just discussing what I just was saying on the other slide, is that you have this tailwind from falling yields. Well, back in 1990, if yields were at 8.5%, you had all this room below you. But in 2020, yields are down here, and you say, okay, well, now they're 3%. But even at 3%, we don't have a lot of room on the downside, so you get this tailwind in capital appreciation. So the bottom line is, with bonds, and if you're looking at longer term income, you have to be very cognizant of the fact that you could lose a lot of your capital appreciation, or you could have capital depreciation in bonds by holding these bonds over 10 to 20 years. So what are some alternatives? So let's talk about annuities and annuity basics. All right. So 5 topics. Talk about definition of an annuity, the basics, how annuities work, annuity products, and payments and distributions. All right. So what is an annuity? Quite simply, it's a contract between two parties: the insured, you, me, person that purchases the annuity, and an insurance company. So the insurance company just simply agrees to pay the insured an agreed upon benefit, either in the form of a regular interval payments or in a lump sum. Most people think of an annuity as an immediate annuity. An immediate annuity, you turn over, fixed amount, let's say 500,000, and you get payments for the rest of your life. And I think part of the reason annuities have a bad stigma sometimes is because people would turn over $400,000 or $500,000, $1 million, whatever, expect these payments, and if they passed away, quickly in 3 to 5 years, then the annuity company would retain all those funds. That's not really how annuities work today. They have all these different provisions in them, and I'll go through some of them. So they allow you to save on taxes as well. So again, you can put annuities in an IRA, you can put it into a Roth IRA, you can put it into a qualified account that already has tax protection. But if you wanted to potentially save on taxes down the road, or as you're accumulating assets, you can also put an annuity into either a trust account or an individual account, and you have full tax deferral on the appreciation of the annuity during the time that your annuity is growing, before you start to distribute the funds out of the annuity. These accumulated funds are later repaid, and you can choose a fixed term, 5, 10 years, rest of your life. Annuities are quite similar to CDs. How do they differ from CDs? Well, CDs are guaranteed by FDIC insurance. They're taxable every year. Your interest is taxable at ordinary income rates, whereas annuities carry that deferred tax benefit. Annuities are also, they don't have FDIC insurance, but every state has a state insurance commissioner, and the state insurance commissioner guarantees or backstops basically all annuity contracts in the state, and there's a little premium that comes out of every insurance payment that goes to the state insurance commissioner, and they keep basically a big bucket in case an insurer fails. So there is implicitly a guarantee as well in annuities, not a guarantee for the appreciation or the payments, but a guarantee of the principal. So let's talk about who offers an annuity. Sold by insurance companies by way of licensed agents. You should always check the insurance licenses. You can do that on the state insurance commissioner website. How does it work? The insured makes a deposit with insurance company, either as a single payment or through regular small installments. So you don't have to necessarily have a big lump sum to put into an annuity. You can do payments that accumulate as you go along the way. Depending on the type of annuity you choose, the money deposit with the insurance company can either earn a fixed or a variable return. There's several different types of annuities: fixed, variable, index. So we'll go through some of those here in a second. Let's talk about the different types of annuities. First, you have a single premium immediate annuity. This is an amount that's paid in a lump sum, and the benefits are derived from the immediate annuity over the next month and then onwards. So I pay an annuity company $1 million, and then they guarantee me a payment of, let's say, $50,000 a year for the rest of my life. And I start by taking that out monthly. I can take it out annually. It just depends on how you set up the contract. There's a lot of flexibility in annuity contracts. Single premium deferred, again, you pay it in a lump sum, but you defer the payments, right? So the payments will grow by some guarantee that the insurer provides. An annual premium deferred annuity, so you pay a premium annually to the annuity company, and then at some point you turn that around and you begin receiving the distributions. And then a variable annuity, which is very similar to owning a mutual fund or a diversified portfolio of mutual funds, but you have this insurance wrapper around the mutual funds, and that insurance wrapper guarantees certain things. And it depends on the type of annuity. So you can have a index annuity, which basically tracks different indexes, which potentially has no downside whatsoever. So if you, in 2021, in January of 2021, you handed them $1 million, your statement today would still say $1 million. Actually, it could say more than that because they maybe have a potential minimum guarantee that they add to it each year. On the other hand, a variable annuity, like a mutual fund portfolio, like you have in your 403B or whatever, has a some type of investment strategy, and it can go up and down. The value can go up and down with the market, but there can be guarantees. And when I say the insurance wrapper, you can put a wrapper around it that guarantees that the income never falls below a certain amount based on the underlying value. They're actually pretty complex products, and I think a lot of times with annuities, the biggest problem, especially as an insurance agent, obviously an advisor and an insurance agent, I think the biggest issue with annuities and placing them with clients is really understanding what you have. I think that's the most difficult part because annuities are very complex products. So how it works. So annuity is just simply a contract between you and the purchaser and the insurance company. Life insurance companies first developed annuities, just historically here, to income individuals during their retirement years. Think of your pension at UCSD, that is a form of an annuity. Anybody that has, whether it's a private company or it is a public university and you have a pension, it's the same exact thing. That is exactly what an annuity is. So let's look at some of the basics. So some of the annuity companies, some of the larger annuity companies here, you always, when you are looking at different annuities, you want to look at reputable companies that have good balance sheets, et cetera. So who purchases annuities? Most annuities are purchased by people over 50. You can see here from 50 to 64, about 40%, 17% over 64. So I do see annuity purchases with people in their mid 60s, even up to 70. You do have to start distributing them at a certain time if they're in a non-qualified account. But we even have some people under 50 that purchase them. Why would you purchase an annuity if you're under 50 years old? Well, let's say you are a professional athlete and you have maybe a 10, 15 year work period, that is, let's say from 22 to 37, and you want tax deferral and you want certain guarantees and you're making $20 million a year and you want to put money somewhere where you're not going to pay taxes on it and you have a guarantee down the road. That would be a perfect example of somebody under 50 that would want to purchase an annuity. So again, one of the most attractive aspects of annuity is that earnings are tax deferred until you begin receiving payments back from the annuity issuer. When you do receive those payments back, here's the rub. When you receive those payments back, it's ordinary income. Even if you've had it for the annuity more than a year, you don't get capital gains treatment on annuities. It's all ordinary income when you get the income back. That being said, several annuity companies have what are called riders that you can get a portion, consider a portion of your monthly income payment is considered a return of principal, and a portion of it would be gain, which is taxed at ordinary income. So it can still be very tax advantaged in retirement in the distribution phase. And over a longer period of time, investment annuity can grow substantially larger than if you had invested money in a comparable taxable investment because you're not paying those taxes each and every year. So early withdrawals and taxes. Like a retirement plan, there is a 10% tax, that penalty, and ordinary income tax if you do withdraw out of annuities before 59.5, very similar to a retirement plan. Unlike a qualified retirement plan, contributions to annuity are not tax deductible. So that is one of the downsides of an annuity. And again, in our business, we always tell our clients, contribute to your qualified retirement plan first if you are interested in annuity, and then we can look at an annuity after you've maxed out your contributions to a qualified retirement plan. And that's more because of the tax advantages you get going into the qualified plan that you do not get with the annuity. So benefits associated with annuity, I talked about tax deferral, withdrawals of 59.5. There is a provision within most annuities that you can do a 10% withdrawal. Let's say you get into an annuity product and you somehow need a portion of that principal back before you either annuitize the contract or begin taking income out of it. Most annuities have a provision where you can take 10% of the principal out a year if you need to. Insured gets a secured guaranteed return typically for life. An annuity offers you a medium of savings, ensuring avoiding probate. And that's another part of annuity I think that's often overlooked, is if it's in let's say a single name account, like let's say it's in my Ryan Hyslop account, on an annuity like a retirement plan, I designate a beneficiary, and so that avoids probate. Whereas if I just have a Ryan Hyslop account, if it's more than 100,000 in the state of California, then it goes to the probate courts. And I haven't designated a beneficiary. So how do annuities work? So here's our annuity. I'm doing timing here. Perfect. Our annuity company, right? So we have here at the top the annuity company. Premiums come in from the purchaser of an annuity. They go into what's called the general account of an annuity company, right? Let's call it New York Life or MetLife or something like that. And they have this accumulated annuity funds general account, right? So out of that, they pay death benefits to people that pass away before the annuity contract or during the lifetime of the annuity contract, I should say. They take out their fees and expenses out of the general account, and that's how the annuity company makes money. An advisor of mine early in the business said to me, here's the difference between life insurance and annuity. With life insurance, the annuity companies want you to live as long as possible, and with annuities, the insurance company wants you to live as short as possible. So that's the difference. So annuity companies, when you have an annuity, especially if you're taking a withdrawal or tax or distribution provision, if you are very healthy and you're going to live a long, long time, it's probably good to have an annuity because the insurance company is going to lose on you. Whereas if you have life insurance and you live a long, long time, the insurance company is going to win because you've been paying in those premiums all those years and they've been able to invest that. So after it goes into the general account here, then they pay out the withdrawals before 59.5, after 59.5, and then during annuitization, and then of course taxes. So parties to the annuity. Discussed this a little bit earlier, but just to get into it a little bit more, there's the annuitant, right? That is the person that either purchases the annuity or the person whose life the annuity is based on. It can also be joint, so it can be between husband and wife as well, or partners. It doesn't have to be husband and wife either. There's the contract holder, so it can be somebody separate. For example, I can hold a contract of annuity on someone else, and then there's always a designated beneficiary, right? So there's 3 different parties to the contract. So 2 different main phases of an annuity, right? Distinct accumulation or the investment phase, right? So that's when you're either putting money in or you put a lump sum in and you're deferring, and then the distribution phase. Now, they can't coincide, but they can be at the same time. For example, an immediate annuity, I pay a big lump sum, I guess they call it accumulation, and then immediately begin distribution. I would say the majority of the time when I've seen annuities, there's an accumulation phase, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and then a distribution where you either annuitize or you take an income rider. So let's talk about the different products. You got, first of all, single premium deferred annuity, right? So that's, again, you're putting a big lump sum in and you make investments periodically over time, right? And you are deferring the income to a later date. Then you have an immediate annuity, which I think when most people hear the word annuity, they think of immediate, where you take this initial premium and you immediately put a big large sum and you determine what you want it to be based on. Is it on one person's life? Is it on, husband and wife's life? Or, what are the years? Is it a 10-year period certain, 20-year period certain? Is it life with installment benefit? So there's all these different riders, all these different options within the annuity. And again, I think that's probably the most difficult part of annuities is really educating clients or educating the public on what type of annuity they own. If you have annuity contracts and you're not 100% sure what exactly you have, I would encourage you to either go to the person you purchased it from or talk to your advisor or whomever and really understand what the options that you selected are and what the different options are on the payment side. Lifetime annuity, if you're 65 and elect to receive annuity distributions over your entire lifetime, the amount you'll receive with each payment will be less than if you elect to receive annuity distributions over 5 years. What does that mean? There are different time frames that you can choose when it comes to annuitizing annuity or getting the distributions out of the annuity once you've gone through the accumulation years. The shorter the time period, obviously the bigger the payment. If you choose your lifetime, right, you don't know, and the insurance company doesn't know how long you're going to live, but they do basically a calculation based on life expectancy. And so they're going to determine the amount that you're going to receive over that. And so again, just with annuities, it's important to understand the different income options and distribution options when you purchase it and you set up the contract. An interesting part of annuities too is if you are charitably inclined, right, you can actually purchase an annuity and designate a charity as a beneficiary. You receive the payments for your life, and the assets in form annuity are transferred over. And you get a tax deduction on that because the charity is the beneficiary, right? So that's a little bit more complex. There's different types of trusts that can be set up that act as an annuity, right? So there's a charitable remainder trust, charitable remainder annuity trust, right? So there's different types of trusts, and that would be something you'd want to set up with your estate planning attorney. So again, distribution options now or later. You have two options normally in an annuity for distribution. On the first option, you can withdraw some or all the money in annuity lump sums. And the second, referred to as guaranteed income or annuitization, provides guaranteed income stream, usually for your entire lifetime or for a specific period. Again, that's that 5, 10, 20 year. And the shorter the time period, the larger the payments. Just to give a personal example, my father took a portion of his IRA when he retired and did a lump sum into an annuity, and he uses that distribution every year to pay for his property taxes and insurance on his primary residence. And so he set that up because he wanted to have those guaranteed payments for his lifetime, to be able to pay those specific bills in retirement. So annuity payments, amount received, each payment will depend on, again, how much you put in the annuity, how earnings are credited for the account, the age at which you begin the annuitization phase, and the length of the distribution period. So there's a lot of different variables that go into how much your payments are. And usually when you go in to see an advisor or an insurance agent about annuities, the best practices from our standpoint is to basically put all these different options on the table for a client so they can look at the different options they have, whether, again, they're going to do a lump sum or they're going to do payments over time into the annuity and then defer it. We like to give them all the different options. This is if you take a 10-year period certain, 20-year period certain, here's lifetime, here's if you take it immediately. Because there are so many options, it's important to have them in front of you and then make the best decision for what you're trying to do. Let's talk about annuity versus other retirement plans. And again, as I've said before, I think it's going down the list of things that you contribute to. I think if you're not maxing out your 403B, 457, that needs to be number one. But as far as annuities are concerned, well, I say it should be number one, but there are certain people that are very, very risk adverse, and you can use an annuity also to take a lot of risk out of your portfolio by purchasing some type of guaranteed annuity. And for people that really, really don't like markets and market swings and can't, tolerate, account balances going down, annuity might be a really, really good option for them to look at. There's no limit to how much you can invest in annuity, and like other retirement plans, the funds are allowed to grow tax deferred and to begin taking distributions. One of the big things I would say with an annuity is generally, I do not like to make an annuity more than 30 or 40% of someone's liquid net worth, because there are restrictions to how much you can take out at any given time. So I think it's important to understand exactly what the ramifications of putting money into an annuity are, so you don't get stuck in something that you can't later bring money out if you need to. So is annuity for you? When is it appropriate? Well, I would say probably it's important to understand annuities can be an excellent tool if you use them properly, right? And if you're properly educated on what you're purchasing. They're not right for everyone, that's for sure. Contributions are not tax deductible, but remember what you put into the annuity does grow tax deductible, or tax deferred, I should say. And again, most experts advise funding other retirement plans first. So in summary, annuities are designed to be very long-term investment vehicles. Usually we will not ever recommend annuity for anyone under 10 years. I think that's probably the best time frame is 10 years and beyond, because for an annuity to work properly and to get the tax deferral and to build up the income benefit and all the other things that come with an annuity, to get past what's called a period where you can't take your money out, it's called a surrender cost. And there may be a 7-year surrender, there may be a 5-year surrender, depending on the type of annuity you have. And so usually 10 years is the minimum that we would ever, 10-year time frame would be the minimum we'd ever discuss for looking at annuities as a possible investment vehicle. Again, in most cases, you'll pay a penalty for early withdrawals. Take a lump sum distribution annuity funds within the first few years after purchasing it, maybe subject to those surrender charges I was just speaking about. And as long as you're sure you won't need the money until at least 59.5, annuity is worth considering because of the tax deferral benefits. Again, in the short term, you should explore other options. But just a quick example here. So this is a variable annuity solution, right? Almost 3/4 of American workers say income stability is important with maintaining wealth in retirement. Adding a variable annuity distributing 5% can help address this concern by raising retirement income potential while reducing the probability of running out of money, right? So here we have the typical 60-40 portfolio, and here we add an annuity because we want to guarantee a portion of it. And just to look at how that would work, if we did income in 5 years, a portfolio with a variable annuity, right? Here. Worst case outcome of running out of money, the guaranteed income the annuity offers continues. So I think that the really important thing when you add an annuity to a portfolio with stocks, bonds, and the annuity, what it does is that a portion of your distribution is covered in a worst case scenario, a 2022 example. Let's say you have $1 million in retirement and you were to put 500,000 annuity with a 5% guarantee, okay? And you want 50,000 in income every year. And your portfolio, the 500,000 you put in annuity, that 5% guarantee gives you that 25,000 a year. So the other 500,000, you want to take a 5% withdrawal, but that 500,000 goes from 5 to 400,000 because it's 2022 and the market was really bad, and you still want that 25,000 in distribution. That's no longer a 5% distribution because 5% on 400,000 would be 20,000. So you have to take a much higher withdrawal rate. With an annuity as part of your retirement portfolio, you don't have to worry about a big market dip affecting your retirement income distributions. So again, short presentation today, apologize. I'm here and tell you right, but I will open it up for questions. And this, I'll stop the share so you can take it back, Vanya. And just open up to see if anyone has any questions regarding annuities, or if I can. Yes, Barbara.
Thank you so much. Yes, I believe a question from Barbara.
Barbara, by the way.
Hi, Brian. Thank you. This was, Ryan, once again, very interesting. And I learned a lot. So thank you.
Good.
And not necessarily for myself, but for another family member who works not for the University of California, but specifically in the entertainment industry, which is not the most reliable source of retirement.
And that's where I gave that athlete example. I think you could similarly do the exact same thing for actors, entertainers that have variable sources of income, big at one point and then nothing.
Well, and this is below the line type of entertainment person who doesn't have the huge income, but nonetheless, as a portfolio situation. What would be the advantages of a Roth IRA contribution versus a contribution to you're
talking about Roth contribute or putting an annuity in a Roth IRA? Is that what you're saying?
Or instead of putting the money into either way, instead make the contribution of the Roth, instead of giving a whatever the maximum money to the Roth IRA, to give it to an annuity to grow. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe that's not the right question, but could you?
I think maybe I'll try answering it, and you could tell me if I took a good stab at it or not. But my recommendation, if you are allowed a Roth contribution,
yes,
I think that's a much better vehicle than an annuity because you get full tax deferral and growth. And then when you pull out of the Roth, it's tax-free, right? So certainly a better vehicle than an annuity. The problem is you can't take 500,000 and put it into a Roth IRA, right? We're limited on our contributions to Roth IRA.
Sure.
I understand there's, Roth 403B provisions, all that stuff, but
Yeah.
you also maybe you make 200,000 a year or 250, whatever it is, and you're not getting a deduction on the Roth side. So you decide to get the deduction by going into your 403B on the deductible side. And you say, hey, I've got a bucket of, another couple 100,000 or whatever it is, and I want it to grow, but I don't want to pay tax on it because I get a 1099 each year for my interest, capital gains, dividends, all this other stuff. And I don't want to pay taxes on it because I already pay enough tax and my income suffices everything. That would be a place where you would use an annuity. Perfect example, going back to the professional athlete, I'm 28 years old and I'm making 20 million a year, or even, you could even say $1 million a year. And I want guarantees, first of all, and I want tax deferral. So I'm not paying, 37% federal and 13.3 in California. So that's certainly a reason you would purchase an annuity. Again, that person that makes that money would not be eligible for a Roth IRA, or if they did the backdoor contribution, they'd be limited to, the 6,500 or whatever it is a year.
Yeah, that's clear. And this was very helpful, Ryan. And I have another question, but I'm going to let somebody else go first and then I'll come back to it.
Yeah, please.
We had a question in the chat from Joni. She thinks she heard about 403Bs through Fidelity, but you can read that question in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, I have an option. Do you know anything about that? And if so, do you recommend it? Great question, Joni. I think it's important to understand. So here's, and again, this is just an opinion. Fidelity is the 403B 457 that's set up by Fidelity or UC is great. It's a great program. You guys can put so much away and all and what have you. I think I'm trying to tiptoe around this, but I think it's important to weigh all your options. So I would also look at different private companies outside of Fidelity. Of course, Fidelity wants you to roll your 403B into annuity with them. Of course they do. But if I go see a Fidelity advisor, what are they going to put? Nothing but Fidelity options in front of me. I would go somewhere where you can, and certainly us or whoever, I would go somewhere where I am presented options from every company so that I know what all the best rates are out there. What I can guarantee you is maybe Fidelity has the best rate in a single premium immediate annuity, but it's just like life insurance, right? Certain life insurance companies are trying to fill up buckets, like maybe they're adding more to their term buckets and some are looking more for whole life. So they take the rates and they move them all around. The same thing happens with annuities. I would absolutely go get quotes, from MetLife, from Principal, from Lincoln, from all across the board. Anytime you ever consider, if everyone in here gets nothing out of this presentation other than this last 2 seconds, if you ever consider an annuity for your portfolio and the person you're sitting across from doesn't show you 7 to 10 different annuity options, then you need to run away because they're trying to put you in the bracket. And that's why one thing I always will say, I always do not recommend going to what are called captive agents. Captive agents are Northwestern Mutual agents, State Farm, go through the list. In Fidelity, same. If you go to Fidelity, they're going to put Fidelity stuff in front of you. So I think you have to go somewhere where you are presented with different options. Similarly, if you go to a mortgage broker and they only have one bank that they're going to offer you a mortgage from, and they haven't done research to look at all of them, then you're probably not with the right mortgage broker. And so I think annuities, this is where annuities get a bad name, is that people will go to a Northwestern Mutual, whatever, and it's not the best product, especially for what they're looking for, and they get into it and then they're stuck in it. So Joni, I hope I made this clear. Just get multiple quotes from different carriers. Hopefully that was, I didn't offend anybody, or hopefully there's no Fidelity reps on here, but I just think you need to get options. Options are good.
Can I ask a follow-on question?
Please.
So if the funds are currently in Fidelity in a 403B, IRA, etc., can you do like a direct rollover into an outside company, or without having to pay the taxes, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. These are great questions. And so what you would simply do is you just do, like you said, you do a direct rollover to an individual retirement account, or actually it's really technically individual retirement agreement. and then you would place the annuity product in that IRA. And again, you already get tax deferral and all that stuff in the IRA 403B. The reason you would put an annuity in an IRA is because you're looking for some of the guarantees. An index annuity, you hate the market, you don't like volatility. I want $250,000 of my money to never go down in value, and I want to put it in my IRA. That's what you do, right? You don't go, oh, I want tax deferral, I'm gonna put an annuity in my IRA. You already have tax deferral. So the reason you would put an annuity into a retirement account is for guarantees. Again, most simply, an annuity is just transferring risk from you as the investor to the insurance company for the guarantees they're going to provide you. I like that map that Deb has in her background there. That's cool. Yes, Barbara.
Okay, the follow-on question. Let us say for a deferred annuity, what is that you make annual contributions to? What's the minimum type of annual contribution that can be made?
It varies with each annuity company. I've seen 1,000 as a minimum, 5,000 as a minimum. It's pretty low.
Oh, okay. Very, very good. And can you?
So annuity companies also usually give discounted pricing for larger amounts.
Sure.
Right? So let's say you're doing 1,000. I mean, just like if you're doing a mutual fund, right? Like you get discounts for same concept.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's really interesting. And thank you. And that was very interesting about putting that in an IRA for guaranteeing a certain kind of fixed return for somebody who needs to have a risk-averse situation to balance out their other kinds of retirement options. Fascinating. Thank you.
Deb is back. Deb, I was saying I love that map that you have in the background there. Great map. Any more questions? Do we have any in the chat? I didn't look in the chat. No, doesn't look like any in the chat. Any more? Or again, my email is, I'll just put it in the chat here real quick.
I'm just sorry I'm late. I could not find the invitation, so I finally realized that.
Well, Vanya, do you want to share with her the link to the?
Yes, so actually we have both the slides and the recording, so we can go ahead and share that, and then Ryan's email is in the chat as well. So we'll make sure to share those.
I'd love to see the recording.
Yeah.
So
Any questions?
But thank you so much, Ryan. That was, I think I learned a lot too. I will be planning accordingly.
We have one more question from Barbara here, I think.
One more question. It's not about annuities, but I was thinking about you and the Lake Tahoe area. Is it really cold there, Ryan?
So I'm actually in Telluride, Colorado right now.
Oh, you are?
So
okay.
Last week was ski week for Carly and our daughter. So we were at our house in Cardiff all last week, and came down to sunny San Diego, and of course it rained all week. But Tahoe, I'll just share with you guys real quick. And honey, I got a couple seconds here, right? Yeah, we're early. I just had a buddy of mine send me a picture. They've had in Incline Village, where our house is, they've had 25, depending on your altitude, 25 to 40 inches of snow already, and we're expecting another 40 to 50 inches between now and mid-Wednesday. That's on top of the 300 we've had in Incline already this season. The mountains have had 500. So we've had 300 inches of snow in Incline already this season. We've got 20 more in the driveway. They got 40 more coming in the next 48 hours. And I just was looking at Open Snow, which is a great app about driving conditions in Tahoe area and all that stuff. We're expecting over the next, between now and March 15th, another between 15 and 20 feet of snow. Wow. We don't know when we're going to be able to get back to our house.
Okay. Well, good luck. Thinking of you.
But here's the good thing is we are okay. My daughters and my wife are in Fresno right now with Grandpa and Grandma. But this is wonderful for California and the drought and water. We need it so bad. So those of us that are in the mountains will take all the snow for everyone so that we can get California back to full of water. And I mean, it's so important. I just read that the Oroville Reservoir, if you look at pictures, Oroville's up by Shasta. The Oroville Reservoir, literally, they couldn't put boats and everything, and now it's completely full in one winter.
Fantastic.
And the Hetch Hetchy I was just reading is almost the same too. And then the reservoir is just north of LA. Did you guys see that Mountain High, which is a ski resort, just a Big Bear on the back of the I forget the mountain range, what's called above Los Angeles, but they were 2 inches away from setting the 24-hour snow record. So the 24-hour snow record in California all time is 67 inches, and Mountain High had 65 in 24 hours. Think about that.
Amazing.
I mean, how do you it's 5.5 feet of snow in 24 hours. I mean, it's just a disaster. You can't even get out of your house.
Right, right.
But it's
Oh my
great.
gosh.
Again, it's great for California. It's great for California. Obviously, I'm very passionate about snow and weather and all that stuff. I think when I was in high school, I wanted to be a weatherman.
Thank you. Keep warm.
Yeah, do our best.
All the best.
All right. Thanks, everyone. And again, if you have any questions or anything, I know it's pretty short today. I apologize. I'm going to go get out there on the slopes now. But my email's there. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'd be happy to answer.